All right, let's talk about something really profound, something that so many of us have gone through. We're diving into why we dream about the people we've lost. It's this incredible mix of memory, grief, and, well, a little bit of mystery, isn't it? So, have you ever dreamed of someone you've lost? If you're nodding your head right now, you are definitely not alone. It's such a deeply human thing. And these dreams, they can feel so incredibly real, right? Sometimes they're comforting, sometimes they're, well, a little unsettling. But no matter what, they always feel important. You see stories like this all the time. This one's from a Reddit user who talks about these recurring dreams of their grandfather. And in every dream, they're just trying to get one last hug. It's just always out of reach. Man, that really captures that ache, doesn't it? That longing for just one more moment. And then you have dreams that are more about denial. This person talks about dreaming that their dad faked his own death because, as they put it, they never got any hard proof. It's like their brain just can't quite believe he's gone. And that really speaks to those early stages of grief, when our minds are just wrestling with a reality that feels completely impossible.
But on the other hand, you also get these dreams that bring this incredible sense of peace. Like this one, where someone's Nan, who had just passed, shows up on a bus in a dream. And when her son tries to get her to come with him, she says no, that she has things to do and is happy. Wow. I mean, those are the dreams that feel like a real gift, right? The ones that offer that bit of reassurance we're all looking for.
So, right off the bat, you can see how powerful and different these dreams can be. Okay, let's really get into it. Let's dive into the why. We're going to look at the psychology, the common themes, and even what's happening in our brains during this really universal experience. All right, so to get to the bottom of these dreams, we have to start with something really fundamental, the link between love and grief. You really can't have one without the other. And that connection, that's the key to figuring out what these dreams are all about. There's this quote, you've probably heard it before, famously quoted by Queen Elizabeth II. Grief is the price we pay for love. And it hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? The reason we grieve so hard is because we loved so deeply. The pain is really just a measure of how strong that connection was. And there's actually a psychological model for this. It's called attachment theory. Basically, it says that we form these super deep emotional bonds with people. When one of those bonds is broken by death, grieving isn't just a side effect. It's the natural, necessary response. It's not something wrong with you. It's just the human way of adapting to a huge change. So here's the really crucial part. Grief isn't just about feeling sad. When you lose someone important, your whole view of the world, what psychologists call your assumptive world, it just gets shattered. Everything you thought was true and stable is suddenly thrown into chaos. And grief, that's the long, hard process of rebuilding that world. You could almost think of our dreams as the workshop where all that reconstruction happens at night. Okay, so if our dreams are this workshop for rebuilding our world, what does that actually look like? What's the content of these dreams? And what are our minds trying to work through? This is really fascinating. Our whole understanding of grief has completely changed over time. The old view, from Freud and others, was that the goal was to let go, to sever the ties. But the modern view is completely different. Now we talk about continuing bonds. It's not about letting go, it's about finding a new way to keep that relationship going after they're gone. And researchers have actually spotted some patterns here. They found 3 common types of grief dreams that kind of map to different stages of grieving. So first, you might get those alive again dreams. That's usually early on, when your brain is still struggling to accept what happened. Then, later, you might have dreams where they give you advice or comfort. And finally, you might just dream of them being part of your everyday life again, which is a sign that you're starting to integrate their memory into your new normal. And across all these types, there are some really powerful themes that pop up again and again. So often, the person we've lost appears healthy, happy, maybe even younger than when they passed. And this is a big one. That feeling that it wasn't just a dream, but a real visitation. So many people wake up with this profound sense that they were actually truly with that person again. Okay, so we've got the psychological why, and we know what these dreams often look like. But what's going on, chemically and biologically inside our heads? Let's switch gears and look at the actual neuroscience of it all. And just to be clear, we're not talking about something rare here. Studies show that a huge majority of people who are grieving, somewhere between 53 and 75%, have these dreams. So if this has happened to you, you're in good company. It's a core part of how we process loss. So this all happens during REM sleep. That's our main dream stage. And during REM, your brain is working overtime. You can think of it like emotional triage. The emotional centers of your brain are super active, and they're working with the more rational parts to process all these intense feelings. The goal is basically to take the emotional charge out of the memories, to dial down the intensity so we can start to heal. And here is a super interesting paradox. At the same time your brain is processing these emotional memories, there's another set of special brain cells, MCH neurons, that are also active. And their job? To help the brain forget unimportant new info. This might be why these dreams can feel so unbelievably vivid and real while you're in them, but the details just evaporate the second you wake up.
Okay, so let's bring it all together. We've got the psychology, we've got the neuroscience. So what's the big picture? What's the ultimate point of all this? Why do these dreams matter so much when we're trying to heal? Well, the biggest takeaway is this. These dreams are not random noise. They're not just your brain firing off meaningless images. They serve a very real, very important purpose. They're a sign that your mind is actively doing the hard work of processing, integrating, and healing from a major loss.
And you know what? It doesn't really matter if you see them as a psychological process or as something more spiritual, like a real visit. Researchers find that either way, the impact on the dreamer is almost always positive. They provide comfort, help us feel connected, and let us work through tough emotions. They are a powerful, natural part of navigating one of the hardest things we ever have to go through. The grief expert Thomas Addig puts it perfectly. He says letting go of having them physically with us is painful, sure, but it's not the same as letting go of them completely. The whole point isn't to forget. It's to find a new way to have a relationship with them, to carry their love forward. And our dreams, they're often the very first place where we start to figure out how to do that.
There's that saying, grief is just love with nowhere to go. And it makes you wonder, maybe dreams are where that love does go. Maybe they're where we learn how to hold it, how to carry it with us. In the end, these dreams remind us that the connections we make, they aren't so easily broken by death. They're a testament to love, and they leave us with that beautiful, profound question. Where does that love live on now?